you. Senator Dumenji?
Here.
Thank you. Senator Victor Wynn?
Present.
Thank you. Senator Roberts?
Here.
Thank you. Senator Wenzel?
Here.
Thank you, and welcome. Senator Abera? Senator Abera? Do not see Senator Abera. All right. Senator Nickwin?
Here.
Thank you. Senator Nirala?
Here.
Thank you. Senator Destin?
Yeah.
Thank you. Senator Atmaker? Senator Atmaker? I do not see Senator Atmaker. Senator Mendez Martinez? There you are. Thank you. Senator Hawk? Senator Hawk? I do not see Senator Hawk. All right. Senator Mesta?
Here.
Thank you. Senator Osman? Senator Osman? No. Senator Parikh? Thank you. Senator Tamim? Senator Tamim? Do not see Senator Tamim. Senator Blanchard?
Here.
Thank you. Senator Hansen?
Here.
Thank you. Senator Job?
Here.
Thank you. Senator Roiger?
Here.
Thank you. Speaker Novak here. President Zelmer?
Here.
Amazing. Vice President Ibrahim?
Here.
Thank you. All right, then in that case, we're going to go ahead and move right along. Our first item on the agenda for today is presentations. We have Kellyanne Klink to talk about elections.
Hi, and so if the person in the booth can put this up, that's great, but if not, don't worry about it. All of you should have a handout. So I have two roles, mostly as a librarian, that I'm coming to you with today. I think it's not only important that people vote, but they vote knowing stuff. So I do this every election. So it is an election guide. So at the top, you'll see their Secretary of State information. And as an election judge, I'm going to tell you that in the state of Minnesota, if you want to go home or get an absentee ballot from home, because you've got, usually it's a school. Like usually, you know, if there's a school district referendum going on and you want to affirmatively say, yes, I want that new school, then sometimes you will choose to vote absentee at quote-unquote home. On the other hand, this is Minnesota. We have same-day registration. You can certainly register in advance, and as an election judge, I pray that you do that because it makes our day go so much faster the day of the election. But you can do same-day registration. We have little tablets that swivel back and forth, and we just check your name against the dorm list of students so that we know we've got a name and we have to have a face and a place. So through the list we know that you live here. You know, it's like one of those Schrodinger's cats kind of things. You both live at home and you live here. But so we do that, and we look at your MAV card. So when you go to vote in your polling place, have your MAV card with you. We check your face, we check your place, and then you're all good to go. You can do same-day registration if you're, U.S. citizen, 18 years old, blah, 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 blah. Okay? But anyway, so those are some of the things on how to vote, where to vote. Polling place information is all there. There's also the absentee ballots for Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wisconsin, because I think a lot of those people who might live near want to do absentee ballots, and so that's all good. In the center column, you'll see general topics. So 411, if the candidates answered the questions, and that's a big if, but you can compare and contrast. Who's running for governor? What did they say about all of these issues? What did the other candidates say about all of these issues, et cetera? So that might be good. 538 is another place that it's also got sports. So if you're interested in sports, they do that very well too. But largely what they do is look at polling as it relates to elections, state, national, et cetera, et cetera. Interesting place to look. Ballotopedia, that's a good place to find like definitions, like the basic information that you need to understand election relations stuff. I put the Council on Foreign Relations there because I just think that international relations is crucial to my interests, so that's why I put it on there. So fact-checked, fine law, voting laws, you might want to look at that. Minnesota League of Women Voters, they do amazing work. They actually put together that 411 stuff. Open states and open source. So there's also places where you can find out who do they get their money from. If they are running from office, where do they get their funding? Because sometimes that will interest you, So anyway, media coverage running from Al Jazeera down to National Public Radio. Fox is in there. Vox is my favorite, but everybody's got different stuff. Watching America is super interesting. Watching America is exactly that. It's looking at the newspapers from around the world and what they are saying about American politics and American events, and it's just fascinating. But so there's that. There's the newspapers you can get from the library's homepage. So the Star Trib, I just subscribe to that. I just love that. ProQuest, U.S. Newsstream. There's other places that you can get stuff. But anyway, so that's a little bit about that. But what I want you to also look at is look at those tabs across the top. So the tabs that I have across the top include stuff on climate change. That is going to go down to county conservation areas and what they are doing to improve the planet, okay? Social justice, there's the gamut there. Healthcare, because everyone cares about health insurance and healthcare. Violence includes everything from school shootings to violence against women, sort of a broad range of things there. Voting rights, and then labor, wages, and salary. So all of those tabs, if you clicked on them, would go to a variety of different websites that have the most current information, statistics, demographics, etc. So those are policy watch places. So as you prepare to vote, I just encourage you to take a look at some of these. I also gave you kind of wallet-sized little pieces of paper with that website on it. So if you want to just stick that in your wallet, if somebody's asking you a question about voting or some policy issue that they might be interested, this is only one place, to find some information that's readily available and easily clicked on. So that is all I have to say there. Any questions from anyone?
Amazing. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? Yes, Senator Larson.
What do you think is the most effective way to get people to register to vote?
Be there, be there, be there. So I think the tabling is important. They're doing it in the dorms. We just got an email from Cindy Janney. I don't know if she's here today. But just being where they are and not expecting them to come to you. But since in Minnesota we do have same-day registration, I'm working in a different polling place this year, but usually we're just at the beginning of Prescott. And so you see us whether you want to or not. So you can do same-day registration that day if you haven't registered in advance. And it really, I don't think anybody waited for more than 30 minutes last time to vote here. So it's not like a lengthy process. So other questions?
Do we have any other questions?
No? See you none? Thank you for the time.
Oh, yes,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you very much. All right. We will now go ahead and move on to open forum. Do I have anyone here for open forum? Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Scott Nelson from Athletics again. Just want to thank you guys for helping make our home football opener a great success. Just under 6,000 people were at the game. I would say conservatively, 2,000 of those were students, which means 2,000 students stayed on campus for the weekend, took part of the Res Life, dining centers, all that good stuff. So that was great to see. Great turnout. Really appreciate the support of student government and student events for the free T-shirts for our students coming to the game. So thank you so much. Volleyball this weekend, and I believe I'm hopefully going to have Sid here from our Student Athlete Advisory Committee next week to talk about our student government and SAC social coming up here in October. So just want to say thanks. Appreciate all you guys do, and I look forward to seeing it again. Any questions?
Amazing. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions?
Have a great day.
Oh, wait one sec. I recognize Emma Zelber.
Yes. Sorry, Emma.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, I'm good, thank you. So I was just wondering if you could give us an update on which teams have had their first wins of the season. So
You bet.
Congratulate them.
I can give you everything off the top of my head. Football is 2-0, ranked 24th or 15th in the nation, depending on which poll. So they won both their games. Soccer is 4-1, ranked 16th in the nation. They head up to Crookston and Bemidji this weekend. Really huge one against Bemidji on Sunday. Volleyball struggled to start against some really good competition. They're 1-9. Had some injuries to start the year and hoping to rebound this weekend. But I think of the 10 teams they played, 6 have been in the top 25, so they played some pretty tough competition. Golf is off to a great start. Men's and women's golf both competed this weekend. Both had, I believe, third place finishes up in Bemidji. And then cross country's off and running as well. Todd.
The women's golf team won.
Oh, sorry, yes. Women's golf won this weekend. Men finished third. So women won the tournament this weekend. Sorry, Coach. So trying to keep them all straight top of my head without my website in front of me is a little tough at times. But, yeah, everything's off and running great. Women's hockey starts exhibition next week. So the hockey season's right upon us, and then we'll go into winter sports here pretty soon.
Thank you.
Amazing. And congratulations
Thank you.
on all the wins. Do we have any other questions? Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you so much for joining us. Oh, wait, someone yields to Mark. Oh, I see President Zelmer yields to Mark Constantine.
I don't have a question for Scott, but Scott, I want to say thank you for your great work with all of us all the time. Your attitude is just excellent. Your enthusiasm for athletics and working with student government, and I want to thank you for all that you've been doing. Thank you.
I appreciate that. You guys are a huge part of our campus and help. You're good. Everybody that's on campus is in this room in terms of groups. So it's great to be able to talk to such a great, focused community right here in student government, and happy to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have anyone else for open forum? Anyone else for open forum today? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move right along. We're now going to move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Thank you. I'm going to clarify real quick for some new people. Approval of consent agenda is where we approve all the supposedly non-controversial stuff here. You can always object if you don't like anything that's on here and want to talk about it or pull it for consideration. This is also the point where you would motion if you want to change anything about the rest of the agenda moving forward. With that clarification stated, we have a motion.
Motion to add the policy review resolution into new business.
All right. Motion to add the policy review into new business. Do we have a second? Second from Senator Victor Wynn. Thank you. Do we have any? I'm just going to do it the way of asking if there's any dissent. Does anyone dissent to adding this resolution into the agenda? Any dissent? Seeing none, I will assume unanimous consent on adding this onto the agenda. And then I will now ask, do we have any dissent to passing the approval of consent agenda as is? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, the approval of consent agenda is passed, along with also the new business of adding the policy review resolution. So we will talk about that when we get to it. We're going to go ahead now to officer reports, and I will pass it off to President Zelmer.
Hi, friends. I wanted to start by congratulating our athletic teams on, I believe all of them have their first wins of the season. Football last weekend, I wanted to say thanks for beating my sister's university team. It was great being able to beat her while she was here, so thanks for that one. Then also soccer, our women's soccer team has been doing great. Wanted to congratulate them and good luck at your game in BSU. Volleyball, I hope you all are hanging in there and continue to win. I see you all have one win under your belt, so keep going. Golf, want to give a major shout out to the women's team for winning, and congrats to the men for third place. And then also cross country, good luck as your meets get underway. For Senators, I have started getting some of their, they call them like priority games. So each team picks like 1 or 2 events that are priorities for them to have students at. I'm getting that list so then we can start planning events not only with the student athletes, but also with student leaders around campus. So as you're part of different student orgs, you know, we have RHA, we have student events team, NRHH, all these different orgs around the table. let me know. I think it'd be great if we could schedule like a social before those games, and then we all go to the games together. It's important that we lead by example and support our athletic teams. It's also really big that they, put it in their budget to allow us to attend those games for free. So let's make sure we're doing that and supporting our athletes, since they're also a huge draw on tours. They always want to talk about athletics, so I've been learning a lot. Other than that, our potluck with Gamma Phi Beta will be moved to a later date. I'm still in works with them on that. We're working on rec stuff, so maybe we'll still do sand volleyball, but also probably bags and other events as well. Thank you to everyone who came and passed out T-shirts at the game. That you'll also be recognized by Vice President Ibrahim. Also, thanks to everyone who came to the inauguration and clapped when we recognized students that were there. That was a great event. It's awesome, and we wanted to officially welcome President Inch to our university on behalf of student government. If you all have any notes, so the Chancellor and Board of Trustees from MnState. So how funding from the state government works is that MnState puts together a request that they send to the state legislature. Rumor has it it's going to be in the 200 millions this year. I don't actually know that number. And that funding is for the next 2 years. That funding goes to the system. Then they decide, give out the money to the colleges and universities. Since Mankato's the biggest campus, that's where we do get some general funds, right, from. So it's really important that we support, those requests to get money. But the Chancellor and the Board of Trustees are coming to campus for a listening session that I've been invited to. So please let me know if you have priorities for the state legislature you'd like for MnState to request. Examples of these would be a tuition freeze, which I'm planning on pushing for them to include in their budget, as well as student basic needs, mental health funding, other campus resources. That way, when we ask for them, they'd be able to give money there. So those are a couple examples. If you have any other ideas, please send them my way so I can make sure to share those up with them. And I know them, so I'm hoping they'll listen extra closely when I tell them what we would like. Beyond that, we had some extra meetings this week. We had budget sub-meet and confer, which was just getting underway, so not much really happened, but we'll update you all if there's any other budget changes. A few contracts that are up. The bookstore contract is up next June. I'll be reaching out to find out more information on that and what's in that. That way we can review it, see if there's anything we'd like to advocate for, to see if they can add to it. Other than that, there's some interesting conversations that the faculty said they had with the system office about bookstore and sharing between bookstores. They didn't say much, and I had to leave for class, but we'll be able to find out more about that. And then other than that, I did an interview with the Canary International Center. I don't know if that's up on their Instagram yet, but we spoke just about why students should get involved in student government. Also talked about advocating for split payments for international student health care. Our new congressman for District 1 was on campus. I asked him about what he would do for students since he's on the education committee. He said he's going to listen to students. So make sure you fill up his email with things that students would like to see since he's a new congressman. And also will hopefully be in the future, since elections are up, make sure you're really looking into people who are sitting in seats as well as who might be opposing or running against them. I also did an interview with the Free Press about the Student Wellness Center update. We updated them about how there's a part-time position for a student wellness coordinator as well as the System Office 211 program. That's where any student in the MnState system can text MN Help to 898-211 and be connected to student basic needs resources in their community or in other communities as well. So you can be up in Bemidji and get help. So look into that. We also had our Students United meeting. Unfortunately, the motion was tabled by the motion to table was motioned by Moorhead, seconded by Southwest. So we did not vote on anything that has to do with fee caps. They are going to go back and talk to their senates and their students as well as their CFOs about it. So we have to wait until next month. That's why I really wanted to push it through last week, because kind of had a feeling that they wouldn't pass it for us. So they seemed on board for a review period. We will still be moving forward with our plans of me sending a letter up to the state legislature. I might write that letter and then all of us could sign it. I think that would be a little bit more moving than just my name on it. So if you have any other like organizing ideas on how we might be able to push the system office to do this for us, please let me know. Anything creative that we might be able to do. So let me know what your thoughts are. Other than that, Advocacy Conference is open. Advocacy Conference takes place, let me make sure about this. It is going to be on, it is the, I can't find it. Sorry. One second. I'll find it, but tickets are now live online. Our campus has 9 free tickets for students. I'm planning on talking to the president's office as well as any other offices that have money in the room. We would love some extra funding to send some extra students up to AdCon. So reach out if you have a little extra movement in your budget. Hi, Mark. If you all can think of anyone else who wants to go, if you're interested in going to that, please let me know and I can give you the access code. I don't want to give our access code out to things that other students could take, or tickets from other schools. So any student is welcome, not just senators. So make sure you reach out to students who are interested in advocacy. Our student fees do go to this conference. So it's going to be an all-day Saturday thing. So we'll leave in the morning. It'll be all day Saturday. And then there's like a social that night with administration, or not administration, with like alumni and others to be able to get involved with as well. I love Students United AdCons. I've been going to conferences since my first year. Definitely one of my favorite experiences, what kind of drove me to run for state chair. So definitely attend, see if you love it. If you don't, at least you got, a free advocacy conference out of it. So there's my 2 cents on that. Other than that, they are keeping up their promise. If you were around last year, I came and presented about a fee increase for Students United that got officially passed by the Board of Trustees last year. And we promised we would work on our development and grant fundraising. They have just received a $25,000 grant from the Graves Foundation for the Student Leadership Program. So they are working on that and finally receiving some good amount grants to take that off of us. Beyond that, I'm also appointing for Students United committees. Those are committees that advise the board of directors. So we have 2 spots on legislative affairs, 2 spots on internal affairs, 2 spots on system affairs. And then delegates takes place at the conference where we can bring up anything. Let me know if you're interested in those. There's only 1 spot left in internal affairs and 1 spot left in system affairs. So make sure you let me know if you're interested in going to those. They aren't at the conference. They're over Zoom, and it's a year-long thing. They meet 3 times throughout the year. So let me know if you'd be interested in serving on one of those. And Students United will be coming to campus Wednesday, October 5th. So they'll be at our Senate meeting. They'll be meeting with administrators. I'm also going to try to get them just like chill in the office with us for a bit. Let me know, or maybe never mind. I'm not just going to spitball ideas in front of the whole world. So we can chat ideas later, but they'll be on campus soon. So let me know if there's anyone we want them to meet with or anything like that. I'm going, one last thing, and then I'm done for real this time. The homecoming parade is coming up during homecoming week. We have been invited to be in the university president's section of the parade, so we'll be walking around, as well as like handing out candy and stuff like that. I'll be passing around a sign-up sheet next week since it's that Saturday, so that way we all kind of know our schedules for Saturday by then. But make sure you think about how fun it would be to be in a parade. I'm going to see if we got giant balloons one year that we got to carry. I'm hoping we can get those back. So we'll see, but otherwise it'll be lots of fun to be in the parade with the new president. I yield.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for President Zellmer? Yes, Senator Blanchard.
What day is the advocacy conference? Do you have a date?
I should have a date, and I should have written it down. Sorry.
You're all right.
We'll go through. I'll get back to that. Sorry.
All right. Does anybody else have any other questions while President Zellmer tries to find a date? Yes, Senator Roberts.
Where would we go to sign up for that if we were interested?
Yes, so for the advocacy conference on,
I see October 13th.
no, that's when the tickets are due.
Never mind. I just saw the day, and I was like, maybe that's
Still working on the date, but so we are going to St. Paul College on November 5th. On November 5th, the date is November 5th. We also have a hotel that night. I'm gonna see what so there's 9 free tickets, and then there's like a sliding scale after. I'm gonna see how many other tickets we can get if we have more than 9 students interested. Those 9 students get a hotel room. I'm gonna try to make sure that everyone who goes with us can stay there for the night. So it's at St. Paul College. Registration is from 10:30 to 11, so thank goodness we're in Mankato and not too far away. And then the conference will end around 5, but we will be able, then there's like the alumni thing afterwards. You go to studentsunited.org and you are able to find the tickets there. Yeah, so the sponsored tickets, those are the 9 tickets I was talking about, those close October 13th or until they're gone. When you enter the code, you have to make sure you select Mankato because we will get in big trouble if we select someone else's school. And then if we run out of those sponsored tickets, we have until October 17th to finish registering everyone else. So this isn't like an urgent rush, but if you want one of those free tickets, please let me know so I can send out the code. Actually, I'll just say the code right now. Everyone have their pens ready who wants to go? Also, if you sign up for a sponsored ticket and don't show up, I am going to be very, very mad because that happened at AdCon last year. You are wasting student money. So don't sign up unless you know you can make it. Promo code is all caps, ADCON, ADCON 23. If you try to register and the 9 tickets are gone, let me know. That way I can get a head count for us to be able to start asking other areas for money, as well as looking at our own budget for how much we can sponsor. So, yeah. Any other AdCon questions?
Thank you very much. Senator Dumenchi?
Yeah, I'm sorry. You said you have a right there, right?
Yeah, we'll get a university, like we'll ride share. Make sure you click the box that like says yes, I will share your information for ride sharing purposes. That way I can at least know who's outgoing from Mankato. Last year we didn't have that and board members weren't able to know who was going for their school. So we'll be able to coordinate ride share, either get university buses, so like someone could drive one of the vans, or else we'll just split amongst people who have cars and are willing to drive. So we'll make sure everyone can get up there if you're registered.
Thank you. Senator Wenzel?
What sort of things regarding advocacy is like, what is the purpose of that conference? What do students advocate for there? Are there specific issues, or is it pretty much a general open thing?
Yeah, so it's more of like a learning thing and training. I'm not sure what the agenda looks like for this year. I haven't been told. But last year, for instance, we had a union organizer. We normally have a state rep come in. We also did some stuff around like self-advocacy for mental health, student basic needs, really making sure students understand issues as well as how they can successfully advocate. Sorry, once I have like the agenda, I'll let you all know, but I did not receive that information yet.
Thank you very much. And I saw Senator Narala. Sorry, I didn't get to you sooner.
That's okay. You mentioned about talking of student health insurance with the KIC. Could you give an insight on how the conversation went and if they were positive about the reforms that we're proposing?
Yeah, so it was just an interview for the Instagram. So it wasn't like a meeting with the KIC. I'm not sure what these interviews normally look like. Mariana, I'm going to yield to Senator Dumenji.
Yeah, so actually, I'm working for the KIC social media team, so it's more we were interviewing student government for the Kearney Center social media, so Instagram only. Mm-hmm. And we're hoping it's going to be posted, I think it's going to be posted tomorrow. So we really hope we're going to tag student government, and we hope that you guys can repost that as well, so we can reach out.
Yeah, but they asked, one of the questions was what like issues are important, like why should international students get engaged, or what does student government do for international students? And I mentioned that that is part of the advocacy for this year, is that we would like to see payments split on the health insurance at the university level. I also mentioned that, system level is the contract.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions for President Zellmer? Is someone willing to yield to Mark Constantine?
Yeah.
All right, VP Ibrahim.
I just wanted to make sure, I think, Emma, maybe you said October 5th was advocacy, it's November 5th?
November 5th, yes.
Just so people didn't get confused around the room.
Yep.
Because we're going back on the registration dates, but November 5th is the date.
Yep, November 5th is the conference. October 5th is when Students United is coming to campus. So their officers and staff will be here. Too many fifths of a month, but yes.
True.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for President Zellmer? Any other questions? All right, and seeing none, we will go ahead and move on to VP Ibrahim's report.
Okay, so this past Saturday we had our first home football game. We handed out student government t-shirt there, and we ran out before the game started, which was really good. So thank you those of you who show up to table with us. The time you were there will be counted as office hours. Also, last week I attended Mankato Area Foundation open house. They moved to a new office and they invited a lot of leaders around Mankato to see the new location. And it was amazing interacting and seeing people from different organizations. They mentioned that they wanted to share with us a research they have been working on this summer and get our perspective as a student. So we will be meeting with them next week to figure out how we're going to do that. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for VP Ibrahim? Any questions? And seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to my report. My report is very short and sweet also. We, last Thursday, attended the Students United 55th Anniversary Banquet.
Oh, yeah.
It was a very good opportunity to meet some of the other student governments from other places, as well as other university presidents and admin, which was, it was overall a very good experience. Additionally, office hours were due last Friday. Thank you for sending in your office hours. You guys now have 2 weeks until the next office hours are due. So not this coming Friday, but the one after that will be next office hours. And I don't have a whole lot other than that to talk about. So that's all that I've got for you guys. If anyone has any questions for me, I'll stand for questions. All right, thank you very much. Emma talked about all the cool stuff already. You're good. All right, moving on to senator reports. I have a senator report from Senator Nick Wynn. Back here.
Hello? Okay.
Start whenever you are ready and just try to keep it within 5 minutes.
Sounds good. Hi, I'm Nick. I am the senator for the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology. And my project is addressing the drop, fail, withdraw rates in the Department of Biology and Department of Biochemistry, Chemistry, and Geology. So this issue does fall close to home since I am a student of both departments. I'm majoring in biomedical science and chemistry. Could we go to the next slide? So this Tuesday, I actually had a chance to meet with Dean Aaron Budge, who is the Dean of the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology, and just to talk about some initiatives or some issues that the College of Science has faced in the past. So I think it was last year, there was an initiative called the Art of Equity, and the goal of that initiative was to identify courses that could use improvement with regards to drop, fail, withdraw rates. So 10 courses have been identified campus-wide, and 7 of the 10 courses are in the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology. So 70% of courses that need a lot of help are in the CSET department. And of those 7, 5 of the 7 are actually CSET courses that are in my departments. So the courses are listed below. As you can see, there's mostly the major specific courses and pretty entry-level major specific courses. So during my tenure as the senator, I've had a lot of time to survey the students as well as professors on issues they're having. And a lot of people, once failing one of these classes, they switch their majors entirely. So they switch to either like psychology or business, and they give up on the whole pre-med track just because they can't pass these courses here. So can we go to the next slide, please? So what has been done? So historically, MathPass has been around since 2019. We've seen some success in CSET department. However, the statistics show that within those biology and chemistry courses, they're not really helping at all. As a matter of fact, they're making things worse, as higher performing students are only performing higher by attending those MathPass sessions, whereas lower performing students who don't necessarily attend to those MathPass sessions are staying relatively stagnant. So I'm kind of guilty in being one of those students that attend MathPass even though I don't need to. So sorry about that. So MathPass in the past, it's working in the College of Humanities and for those classes like economics, but we're not seeing any improvement in the College of Science, and I can't really bash them because they are a new program and they collect a lot of data to continuously improve. Another initiative has been the Center for Academic Success. So the Center of Academic Success is located in the library, and not a lot of people seek tutoring because of how hidden it is and not how readily available or accessible it is to people. So it's there, but it doesn't necessarily work. And from my meeting with Dean Budge, they have regular departmental meetings to discuss this, and being appointed to the CSET Advisory Board, I get to be a part of those meetings to continue discussing initiatives we can take. Next slide, please. So here's my course of action to address some of these issues. I definitely want to collect a lot more data on this because this is a relatively new issue. So Crystal Watts, she works in down in the student events office. I got a chance to talk to her as I was campaigning for this position, and she's really good with student surveys. So I'll definitely reach out to her just to survey students who have taken these courses in the past, see some of the metrics, try to compare it to see if they're persons of color or necessary, just to see where things correlate. Dr. Laura Yin, she was also part of that meeting with Dean Budge and I. She also has all the departmental data with CSET, so definitely I want to look at those data, and then Laura Jacoby, who has all the MathPass data for those courses as well. I also want to discuss equity initiatives for CSET. So the data shows that the majority of the lower performing students are students of color, and that could be due to not having formal high school education that can address some of the stuff that's taught in college. So I do want to meet with Dr. Timothy Berry and Dr. Henry Morris. As a presidential scholar myself, I do have access to speaking with them on just ways that we can address the equity issues within CSET. And I just want to implement both the data and equity initiatives into my meetings with Dean Budge and basically the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology. Something Dean Budge said, nothing can be fixed with the snap of a finger, so this is going to be, I think, a year-long project or even after my time as a senator. So next one, please. Okay, so this is my last slide. So how I'll get progress with it, feedback on my progress, I definitely want to continue my meetings with Dean Budge and Doral Yin. So those regular meetings have been scheduled for every Tuesday of every month, every second Tuesday of every month, and that includes all CSET senators. And I also want feedback from everyone here as well, just to see things I could improve on or just any recommendations for my project, so I did include my contact info there. So I stand for questions.
Yes, thank you very much. Do we have any questions for Senator Wynn? Any questions at all? All right, seeing no questions, thank you very much. Very wonderful Senate report. All right, moving right along, we're going to move on to vacancies. I am going to ask if there's anyone present for these vacancies. Do we have anyone present for Residence Community Senator? Anyone present for that role? Nope. Anyone present for College of Allied Health and Nursing? I do not see anyone present. Anyone present for College of Humanities and Social Sciences? Do not see anyone present. And then I am going to ask for off-campus senator. There is vacancy information provided to people. However, the person said that they would not be able to make it to this meeting, so this person unfortunately will not be present. However, I will ask, is there anyone here to run for off-campus senator?
I would like to run for off-campus senator.
Yes, absolutely. Will you please take the podium, and we will allow for you the opportunity to have a 2-minute opening statement, followed by questioning, followed by a closing statement, and then you may choose to either stay in the room or leave while people discuss and vote.
Sounds good. Thank you, Speaker Novak.
Absolutely. Yes. Unfortunately, there was an election form turned in for this candidate. However, we unfortunately were not able to get it printed out before you guys. I'm sorry for that, but as we do not have that form present here, feel free to ask any questions that would normally be on that form, and they will not be stricken as out of order, but please only ask questions that pertain to the job. With that being said, sorry for cutting in, and you may go ahead and start your opening statement whenever you would like.
No, you're all good. Thank you so much. So thank you all so much for having me here tonight. My name is James Zigwad, and I am a third-year student in the College of Business with a major in management. This year, I would like to represent students off campus in the off-campus senator role, and I believe one of the biggest reasons that I want to do so, and one of the biggest things that I will fight for students, is more and better access and improved communication on different anti-hunger options that we have on our campus, because we have so many different resources that are available, such as the Sodexo Swipe Out Hunger, the campus cupboard, the campus kitchen. All of those different things are available to students, but oftentimes we don't necessarily promote them as much as we should. And I think that that's definitely a significant issue, especially at our university, considering the fact that a 2018 study found that around 40% of MSU students are facing food insecurity. It is pretty evident that we have to address this issue, especially for students that are living off campus. So in my position as a student senator, I would help promote these programs while also working with you all to expand them. And I think that student government does so many important things on our campus. So being able to partner with all of you as some of the best leaders on our campus would help me more or less achieve these goals as an individual. And yeah, when I was listening to President Zellmer before about meeting the students' basic needs, I thought that that's definitely, it kind of solidified my decision to run for this position. So thank you all, and is there any questions for me?
Thank you very much. We will have you stand for questions in a second, but first, before we do that, will you please state your name for the body here?
Yeah, my name is James Zigwad.
Would you also be willing to say pronouns?
Yeah, he, him, his.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions for candidate, and correct me if I pronounce this wrong, Zigwad?
Yep, that's correct.
Amazing. Thank you. All right. Any questions? Is that a question you're on? No. Then Senator Bassett.
Hi.
Hello. I love your speech. I love the research you have done. I love the data you provide. Except that, and I also love the passion you have got, but have you ever done some volunteering on those fields before as a student?
Yeah, so actually I'm the meal planner for the campus kitchen, so I've been working on a lot of those different projects, trying to help allocate the different resources that are available for students. And then this past summer I had an internship with the Congressional Hunger Center in Washington, D.C., kind of working on fighting hunger on a national level. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions? Senator Roberts?
Can't let you get away with the famous student government question. Strengths and weaknesses.
I would say my biggest strengths are communication and passion for different things. So like I'm very passionate about this issue of anti-hunger work, and so when I am passionate about something, I put a lot of effort into it. And my biggest weakness, I would say, is probably the similar thing. So just being so focused on something and putting in so much effort that I don't always account for my own mental health and everything like that, and can kind of get a little bit of a tunnel vision on that. But that's something I'm working through to try and improve, so yeah.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other questions? Senator Destin?
So first of all, I'd like to thank you for all of the information you provided, especially with statistics of 4% of our students being facing food insecurity. I wanted to know, so if you have this position, how are you going to ensure that you can reduce by your current statistics of 40%, or how are you going to make sure that the food insecurity issue can be mitigated?
Yeah, I think that that's a really good question. So basically, a lot of programs to help mitigate these issues are already in place. The biggest issue is that oftentimes students don't necessarily know about them. So it's more of a disconnect between the information, not necessarily the lack of resources. So I think that by using different things such as social media, we'll be able to more or less present these different options to everybody and ultimately ensure that everyone who needs help is able to receive it.
Thank you very much. Is that a follow-up question that you have? No? All right. Do we have any other questions for the candidate? Any other questions? All right. Then in that case, you will be offered a 2-minute closing statement. If you want it, you can also forfeit that statement if you feel it's not necessary or not use the whole time.
I guess just to close out, I would just like to say thank you all so much for having me here today. Thank you all for the great questions, and I hope to be joining you as a senator. So with that, I yield back all the rest of my time.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And now you get to choose whether you would like to stay in the room for discussion or you would like to step out of the room for discussion.
Oh gosh. I was going to say step out of the room, but I don't know, I kind of want to hear, but I suppose I'll stay.
That's very fair. All right, then in that case, I will open it up. Do we have any discussion points on our candidate today? President Zellmer?
I think that we have a great candidate who, I was actually on the Senate that research he referenced was brought up and presented to us. So it was nice to see that people still know about that research. That was kind of cool. It makes me feel old, though. But yeah, so I will be voting yes to confirm this senator, and I hope this will be a quick discussion. I yield.
All right, Senator Roberts.
So I want to say that James is an amazing person as I've gotten to know them. And I can definitely say that there's somebody, when they say that there's something that they care about, something that they want to advocate for, they'll do it. I've gotten to know James over not only this year, but this past year in conjunction with some of the work that they've done on speech and debate. And they have really done an amazing job of not only pushing this field in their advocacy and competition, but also on our campus and, in fact, around the nation, as they have done some amazing work in Washington, D.C. So I will be very much voting yes in favor of this candidate. I yield back.
All right. Thank you very much. Senator Destin?
So, first of all, living off campus, it means that you take responsibility for yourself in terms of food, in terms of everything. And I think if we do like some kind of statistics, out of this 40%, most of those who face the actual insecurity will be people who live on campus. Because who live on campus have resources like the University Body Center, you pay for that, and you can use that. For people who live off campus, it means that you have to go to the grocery store to buy food, or to have like real knowledge about the resources on campus that you can use. And seeing someone who has like not just the experience but also the passion, and he has a lot of experience about the resources on campus that could help to mitigate the food insecurity, I think he's a very great candidate, and I am going to be voting yes for him.
Thank you very much. Senator Bassnett?
Okay, so despite the fact that we were questioning him differently than average, this was the fact of not having the form fill out and then also having to tackle all the questions and points and then answering them confidently. And then also, most importantly, the fact that he was passionate beforehand, not only for this position, but beforehand he was very curious to help the people. Really impressed me, and then I am going to vote him. Yeah.
I will offer information that the form was filled out. It was that we were unable to print it in time, and we were unable to get it on the agenda. So the form was filled out by the candidate.
Sorry, I didn't want to say that he didn't fill out. I did acknowledge that he filled out, but the form was not here.
That is, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify that information because that was our fault, so I'm going to take the blame for that one. Senator Narala, did I see your placard up? Jacob, yeah, your folded paper.
That's okay. I'll just go ahead and say that I'll be voting yes for James to be elected as a senator for for off-campus senator. He's an amazing person. He is the RSO chair for speech and debate team, and one of the best things that I like about him is that he's a very he advocates for mental health and then checks up on people in the team, and then I think that he'll be a great senator, and I hope he'll be checking up on other senators and will be reporting it to us as well. So thank you.
Thank
you. I
you.
yield back.
Do I see a motion from Senator Roberts?
Motion, previous question.
All right. Do we have? I'll ask if there's any dissent. Is there any dissent? Yeah, it needs to be a second. Sorry. Seconded. Any dissent on calling the previous question? Any dissent? Seeing no dissent, we will go ahead and call the previous question and go to a vote. Sorry, I forgot about the second for a second. But once again, your options are please write on a small piece of paper that I will come around and collect because I don't see John here today, so I'll be tallying the vote. Oh, John is here.
John.
You were hiding. All right. Me and John will go around and collect the small piece of paper. Please write yes if you are in favor of the candidate, no if you are not in favor of the candidate, or abstain if you abstain from the voting, which can be used if there is perhaps a conflict of interest. And yes, I will go ahead and start coming around collecting votes. Oh my gosh. Thank you very much. You got a vote for me? Ooh, you're sliding over all sneaky like.
Sneaky, Stormy, you're losing your name.
Vice President.
I give it.
You give that.
Yeah.
Ooh, got it.
You're cheating. You're in the wrong direction.
Thank you. Zero. We're all.
We should all start doing this when we want conversation to end. You're a bunch of pencils and you tell a question.
Just take over all three seats.
I can see you doing that. Just like move all the other chairs around to the end, so it's like you with the rest.
I'll put her in.
Very subtle play at that, like just taking over. Yeah.
Why people what? Oh, with invoices? I don't know. I have an opportunity. Thanks, Amber. You're watching this. Shout out.
I'm sorry.
Put that in the minutes. What was that? I know, it means sad. I was like, I can't believe you would do that. It's not very equitable of you.
Are you going to be the one? Do you want to be the second?
I just feel bad. Second makes me bad today. I'll second it though. That's okay. Yeah. That's why I didn't say it. I didn't feel like I'm being like a hypocrite and unfair. Yeah. But I was like, if someone else does.
Oh yeah, no, I'm starting off with that.
Please. I'm starting off. Do you have any reports?
Do you need a
pull it up
recess?
real quick? Do you need a recess?
Motion.
Motion on the table from Senator Roberts.
For a 3-minute recess for the purposes of Emma to be able to go pull up the oath of office.
All right, I see a second.
Find this oath box.
The reason behind the motion gave a little bit of a spoiler, but do we have any dissent to calling a recess? Seeing no dissent, we will call a 3-minute recess. Recess because she's getting the oath of office.
From my office?
Yeah.
We normally have a box, so I'm gonna...
Should we just have should we print the oath of office?
We have a box, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah,
we have like an official looking thing. I don't know where it ended up.
She's busy. She's busy.
I couldn't find it anywhere else.
That's That's why we're recessed. It's because of her.
Are you gonna throw hands? let's head in the middle. We'll throw down.
That would be a good place to throw hands.
I'm gonna pick up the owl and just.
No, Emma, just start dabbing your head.
I don't know if I'm going to get to I've seen that. We can also fit it.
Wait, Can you take pictures, PR chair?
Pictures?
Yeah, to post on social media.
So I'm assuming it's going to be right there. I haven't read my emails for a couple of days.
Yeah, you just take pictures of him and of them delivering it to the office.
Did you guys decide yes or no?
Yeah, so we can talk about the Sorry, I haven't.
That's fine. We can get you the code.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and let us just know. We can tell them how you want.
You can, I give you the code.
Okay, sounds good.
Edie wants to talk to you.
We don't. You officially it's okay. Feel good doing it?
Yeah, I can do it.
Alright, stay
So I'll add it to like the email I send out next week for committee. So that
and then I state your name, will represent and serve students of Minnesota State University.
I was reviewing
Student mind.
That way
it's your student mind. You're not going to.
Our resolution.
The mission.
I said in the Constitution that it was
I so
finals week was an experiment, stress reliever, and so we would do it.
Congrats.
What do you mean?
But we just
All right.
Are we back?
Well, everyone's gone.
We'll wait for one.
Oh, I think she was pointing that.
Serial girl. Girl, we're both in our places.
You guys are such a I should have been in a blazer. Matching blazers. We should get like purple blazers.
Like gold in the middle?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to respond to it.
Are you ready to throw down now?
We're waiting an extra minute because people are still gone, but then we'll come back.
Harass Andrew Trenny. Go to the bookstore. Ransack.
That's all I gotta say.
I know.
I don't know if I could say that on camera in case it happens. Wasn't me. I want a stomper one. President Lynch wears a stomper pin. I want a stomper one. Maybe I'll ask the president if he'll
and I don't know how.
No, that's an idea. One time President Davenport bought ties for all the guys and like little like, you know the table runner in the middle of the Senate office? That's actually a scarf. I was not on Senate that year. That was before me.
We're still missing people.
Just call it that.
Hello, I'm going to go ahead and call us back into order because we are a minute past our 3-minute break. So I'm going to call us back into order. We have had an election and we have gone ahead and elected candidate Zigweed to the position of off-campus senator. Will you please stand up at the podium and I will have you recite an oath of office, and then following that you may join us at the Senate as a senator for the rest of our meeting and for all future meetings to come.
Sounds good, thank you.
Do you want me to do it with the mic? You pass me the mic. I kind of want to do it with the mic now.
Okay.
All right. I state your... Oh wait, I have to turn it on.
like this.
All right. Raise your right hand and I state your name.
I, James Zigwide,
will represent and serve the students of Minnesota State University Mankato.
The students of Minnesota State University Mankato.
In student life and academic needs.
In student life and academic needs.
And will uphold the mission.
And will uphold the mission.
Constitution and bylaws.
Constitution and bylaws.
Of the student government.
Of the student government.
I do so affirm.
I do so affirm.
Amazing, and congratulations. Welcome to Senate. You may now take a seat and join us at the table. If you need to get your stuff and bring it over first, that's totally understandable.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. We're going to go ahead and move right along. We also have a vacancy for at-large senator, but that vacancy will open next week to begin being elected there. We will now move on to the next item on our agenda, which is new business, the policy review resolution that was added on earlier in the meeting. As the person who brought forward this motion, would you like to speak on it?
Yes. So first off, I wanted to state off so no one panics. We're not voting on this week. I just wanted to bring that forward first. The purpose of this resolution is basically to call upon the university as a student body that this is the perspective of all of these particular university policies that we wish to call for immediate review ahead of their timelines. And I'll briefly go into why for each of these policies, starting with the first one in the Be It Resolved, academic forgiveness for undergraduate students. A little bit of the rationale on this one is it is a perceived problem when we are talking about the retention of students that we would have to force students, unless they are choosing to switch majors at that point, on academic forgiveness of having to leave the university for a period of 3 years in order to obtain academic forgiveness. Sometimes students have an extremely hard time and have a rough start, and this policy is a little bit, in terms of the way that it is currently written, unfair to students who had a really extremely rough start to getting that idea of a somewhat fresh start and opportunity to succeed on our campus. The second policy listed is the acceptance and evaluation of undergraduate transfer credits. We briefly talked about this last time in student government in terms of how transfer credits are evaluated. And I know that we discussed the idea that it probably should be where when transfer students come in, that it is automatically that all of their credits get evaluated instead of having to make a request form that transfer students are not necessarily aware of. And the current policy is a little unfair in terms of that, in terms of transfer students having complete knowledge of what they're supposed to do, so we should probably make it more accessible for transfer students. The next one is campus demonstrations. Some of the language in here is a little concerning. There are questions of potential First Amendment violations in our view in terms of some of the language in this policy. Some worthy language notes, in fact, say that there is a line in there that says, if it opposes others' views, might constitute as a reason for a demonstration being not necessarily permitted. And I find that problematic. I think that is there's some very problematic language in here that is unclear as well, and what students have rights to when making a demonstration. The next element is the emergency closing policy. The rationale on this one is essentially saying that when at closing, particularly on just purely cancellations, in the policy it says if cancellations happen, that the offices remain open. The offices remain open, and that extracurricular activities in that case may continue at that point. It's currently not necessarily at the discretion of students choosing their safety. It's not at the discretion necessarily of employees per the exact wording of the policy. Now, there is the other element of campus closings when a closing happens, and that's fine. But it's when it says just purely cancellations, because the intent of the policy is if there's severe weather or any other bomb threats and stuff along those lines, that if there is a class cancellations, it's probably not the smartest idea to not give some discretion to students and faculty members and staff members at that level. The next one is gender-neutral restrooms. The reason for this is that the language in the policy does go in the realm that future ones will be built. If there is renovations or if there is new construction, but does not promise necessarily that there is one always in place. The policy language should be adjusted to guarantee that at least one, in my view, should be more than one, but at least one should be in place in every situation, and the language should be, as a result, adjusted to guarantee that, instead of having language that is necessarily potentially prohibitive of one being constructed if no renovations are ever made. The graduate assistantship policy, this is just following line of an earlier resolution passed last year by the prior student government to recall this particular policy and to make adjustments in terms of graduate assistantship, in terms of enforcement of hours of the limit, and particularly furthering the discussion of graduate assistantship pay. Lactation spaces, same rationale as the gender-neutral restrooms. Lock, key, and electronic access control. This policy has some interesting, unique elements to it. One that has become relatively unpopular with students is this idea of having to pay for these keys. The mandate that keys have to be paid if you're a student or graduate assistant or graduate student if you need particular access. While this fee is relatively low, it is in the opinion of many students that have been talking about this policy that it should be where if you lose the key, you pay the fee, not where you pay the fee to get the key, which then you later return to get the money back. The problem is this policy is written in a way that can be financially harmful to especially new students on campus who require these keys that they have to obtain, that it could be financially prohibitive to these students. And that is the main rationale of recalling that policy. There's also issues that have been discussed by faculty members and graduate assistants of some behavior in terms of harassment from security, in terms of late night access while in a locked space in their locked office, being told, quote, are you really a faculty member? Are you really a student of this campus? So there needs to be further discussion on that policy. The next policy is recognition of student government. I will let Emma speak to that one a little bit more, but in terms of that policy, we just want to adjust some things and keep things more up to date in terms of student government policy. The next one is undergraduate course repeat. It is. I get the principles of this policy, and the policy, in one respect, is reasonable for students who have passed a particular course. But setting a particular limit of how many times a student can take a course is problematic, especially if they are struggling or have had repeatedly hard times. I understand that many students will never run into this situation, but the idea of eventually having to go through an entire appeal process for an additional attempt at a course is probably not the best practice for student success on this campus. The undergraduate student degree program declaration policy, the rationale here particularly is for mainly transfer students who would have to immediately make a declaration if they are over 30 credits. The principle of it may be extremely unfair to immediately ask a student who is brand new to this campus, especially at 30 credits, who's just transferred from another university, to immediately know exactly what pathway they want to go to when immediately transferring to another university. So this policy should be reconsidered under the principle of better access for transfer students. And yes, it is understandable, sure, maybe they make the declaration and they can immediately change it. But to have that expectation thrown on transfer students in an instant is probably not the best policy to have. The next one is university policy development. Student government would like to reconsider some of the practices in terms of how policies are reviewed to be more accessible to student review of the process, so more access and more equitable access for students to review. Student complaints and grievances. That policy, the big rationale on this one has to do with the formal reporting process. The formal reporting process really does basically force students, if there is a problem with a particular faculty member, to drag their name through the literal mud. So we expect a lot of cases in these departments, whether it's graduate students or undergraduate students, that they might be getting references from some of these faculty members. And when a formal report comes about, their names basically get formally revealed as part of this process, which can have some negative effects to this particular student or students who are trying to report a faculty member for whatever thing that they did or whatever thing that happened that justified the report in the first place. The idea is no student should be forced to drag their name through their mud. No student should be forced to have every little bit detail publicly known about their experience about this faculty member or whomever they are reporting to be just out there in the open, because that can have detrimental effects to their career-wise or willingness to stay at this university, or willingness to even report a faculty member who has committed an egregious offense to that student. Parking and transportation is the next policy. That is continuing the work in terms of student government work, in terms of adjusting elements of parking and transportation as we go forward, and furthering our advocacy on those fronts. And lastly, 0 credit hour courses. There are a multitude of rationales of why student government would like to see these reviewed. First hand, we understand that there might be times in which a 0 credit may need to be offered. However, the policy is very much incomplete. The policy only currently focuses on undergraduate students, but doesn't also account for graduate students who also have 0 credit courses, and yet there is no official policy in place accounting for the zero credit courses that graduate students have to take. Secondly, the furthering discussion of should zero credit courses be a thing, especially when some do actually cross over the 45-hour minimum that is set by the federal government for what constitutes as a credit per the credit hour policies set out by the university. So those are the policies in question that we are calling for review and further discussion. In terms of the rest of this resolution, we would like these to be reviewed not only throughout this year, but if any of these, due to the number of policies that we are calling to be reviewed, to give the policy review and consultation team this year and this upcoming year to achieve review of all of the requested policies. I will now yield.
Thank you. Sorry, I haven't talked for so long. I lost my voice. Constantly talk. Yeah. No, thank you very much for the very in-depth breakdown. If I understand correctly, Senator Nirala is your second, or is Senator Zelma?
I was asked for copies of the resolution.
Oh, I misinterpreted what. Yeah. Then in that case, I will yield to President Zelmer. I don't know if we have extra copies of the resolution that we can get over there. If you want, you can have mine, and I'll just look over other people's. Yes.
Okay, so the reason I'm seconding this is because Senator Roberts and I had a discussion where I asked, so I got an email from Amber, our office manager, forwarded me an email from the provost office saying, hey, policies are up for review. And there's only certain ones that come up for review every year. They're kind of on a schedule, but you can request that policies be reviewed sooner. I asked Senator Douglas if they would do us a favor and look through and point out any that might be of interest that we would like to see be reviewed sooner. My hope is that before we vote, we will have a see attached reasons why. That way, that's why we're going through the typical 2-week process, because I also don't want to put this on someone's desk being these things and then expecting them to watch a Senate video, which all admins should be. But yeah, so there's some in here. I'm not going to go through line by line. I urge you all to go through and look through some of the policies. Some are very straightforward. There's one hey, we don't make sure you're ethical when you test on humans or on animals. Those ones pretty straightforward. There are some that, one, I'm hoping that the policy committee will go through all of the policies and make sure that there is no him/her, but they use they, them to be inclusive of all. But besides that, the student government one specifically, last year when I was up at System Land as Students United, this is going to be a wild track, so follow me, but board procedure, so Minnesota State Board of Trustees procedure 2.3.1, which is student consultation. That means they need to consult us on tuition, they need to consult us on fees. There's a few other things in there. There's also a line in there that says they should be consulting us when the university, I don't know the exact language, but spends a certain dollar amount. It doesn't have the dollar amount, but when it spends a certain amount of money of student dollars on something. So last year, you all saw Mav Pods pop up. Also included in contracts are dining services. What brand of soda we use? Are we a Coke school or are we a Pepsi school? Things like that. Also HVAC could be a certain amount. Students United interpreted that to meaning that they should be getting student consultation if it's over $1 million, since any contract over $1 million goes to the Board of Trustees. They were interpreting it as $5 million. I was able to work with Vice Chancellor Mackey, who's the Vice Chancellor of Finance, who we'll be sending a letter to about fee caps soon, if any contract is student-facing, it should have a student consultation letter on it. That way, if you're trying to do something for students, you should probably ask students if they want it. I think it's a good idea. It's our money, so we'd appreciate it if they would have asked. Also, I think we have good ideas, so we can maybe give some recommendations. I would like to include this in our university policy. Right now it's just a practicing procedure. Vice Chancellor Mackey informed the CFOs that that is what he's expecting. However, there's nothing like holding anyone to that, so there's nothing that if Vice Chancellor Mackey were to leave tomorrow, that it couldn't revert back to what it was before. Our university does have stronger language around student consultation than most of the other Minn-State schools. I want to give our university that. We are very forward with including students. I mean, we have so many admin in the room. Vice President of Student Affairs is always here, and many others. Many other schools don't even have anyone show up or listen, so it means a lot to have you all here. We know you all are listening. But I would like some language that you all will consult us on $1 million contracts. So I'm hoping to kind of plug that into the student government policy. I will personally be going through all of these and making notes as well. I urge all of you to look through all of the policies. See if there's anything that you're like, oh, maybe this could change. This way, this is more of a value statement of these are the policies that we want to see fixed, and these are what we would like to see fixed in them. That way, even if all of us are gone, even if all these don't get reviewed this year, they can't say they didn't know. So that's why we like to push this forward and on behalf of all students. But that's also why we're not voting today, so y'all can kind of take a peek. We're also going to come back with a better presentation where we can go through exact language, so that way we all can make an informed decision on it. The committee that Senator Douglas is on, you said it meets in October.
Meets in October.
Yeah, so they will be on the consultation committee. Both of us are on the policy review committee that starts to make those decisions. So I figured it just might be a good idea for student government to put together a proposal for what we'd like to see reviewed. Very open to friendly amendments. I'm speaking for you, but I think we're open to that.
Yes.
Cool. I yield. Sorry.
No, you're all good. Thank you very much. We're going to do questions and then discussion. We won't vote for today. I see that VP Jones has something. Is someone willing to yield to VP Jones? All right.
Really excited about all your various ideas and such. The campus has a deadline of Friday, September 16th.
I've been in contact with Dean Feltzos. Yes.
Great.
All right. Thank you very much. Senator Parikh?
This is not much of a question, just an argument for the undergraduate transfer credits evaluation. I myself, as an international transfer student from India, when you spend your semesters trying to earn full credits, and when they get transferred, they just give you 1.8 credits, which technically does not cover any goal area. And right now I'm a junior, and I don't have half of the prerequisites for my higher level classes, so I definitely agree to work for the undergrad transfer credits evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate the discussion point, and I didn't want to cut you off because you were on a roll, but this is a period for questions right now, so we'll be accepting questions, and then we'll move to discussion points right after. All right. Yes, Senator Ziguid.
So I was wondering, where can we find the specific policies to kind of look through the language?
You can Google MNSU Mankato policies, and then you click list of all the policies. There's a lot, but it gives a brief summary. If any spark your interest, go look into them. I do not expect you to read every university policy. I don't think anyone at the university expects anyone to read every single policy.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Senator Desta?
Can we also find it on the school website?
Yeah, it's on the school website.
Here, I have it pulled up. It looks like this, and then you scroll through, and you can see all of the policies. So enjoy some, late night reading on your weekend.
Any other questions? All right. Seeing no further questions, we will move into discussion. Do we have any discussion points? Senator Destin?
So, honestly, I have not read most of the policies, but with the issue of the transfer credits, I think I have first-hand experience, which is even more than reading the policy anyway. Transfer credit, in terms of how it works, I think it's a little tricky and in a way vague because the current policy evaluates student on individual levels. So what might transfer for me, even if we are from the same school, it might not necessarily transfer for us. So for instance, I transferred from Augustana College in Edinburgh, and I had 3 previous students who also transferred from that very college here. And most of the credits that they took here at, freshmen, like required courses that we all did together. And they told me the procedure was send your transcript, go to your academic advisor or your dean of the college. They have to evaluate and tell you which courses you can transfer or not. And if you do not follow those steps and you just transfer to the university, then you will have to repeat almost all of the credits, especially with the ones that have to do with the general education requirements, which I think is problematic because not every student has access to, like when you're transferring, you're so much overwhelmed with too many information. You don't even know the name of your college, you don't know your academic advisor, and then on top of that, trying to balance the transfer credits with the issue of like acclimation to that new university, everything. I think it just a whole lot of work for students, and it does not really help the transfer process. So, and I also understand that there's a form you have to use online if you believe that your credits should have been transferred or considered by the university and it did not get considered. There's a separate form you have to go and file in a claim that, hey, this credit should have been considered because it missed this requirement. I think it should not be that way. I think whoever is reviewing the courses should really know which credits, because at the end of the day, you provide the syllabus of the course, you provide the credits and all of those details. I think that should be enough to make a decision upon which credit get transferred or not. But it should not be something students have to go through extra procedures to file a complaint and say, oh, my credit, this one should be considered. So I really think that policy needs to be reviewed, and reviewed in a way that will make not just the evaluation process to be in the interest of the students, but also to make sure that students don't have to go through the extra stress of filing complaints if their credits don't get considered. Thank you.
All right, thank you. President Zelmer.
I'm going to yield to John, our advisor.
Thank you. Good points, Senator Dennis. And if I can just suggest for one thing that the motion on the table is to pull these policies for review. So rather than going off into the weeds about the individual policies here right now, I would suggest that you go ahead and, if you want to, pass or table the resolution, then pass it next week so that you can then go in and dissect the individual policies. So just a piece of advice.
I don't believe we need to table it since it's a 2-week process on motions, right?
Well, it would table until next week.
Do we need a motion to table?
No.
I don't think we do.
No, we do.
Okay, awesome. We're on the same page. Cool.
Automatically goes to next week. Tabling would be if we wanted to push it back farther. Thank you very much, John. Couldn't have said it better myself. Any other points of discussion? Any other points of discussion? All right, seeing none, then we will readdress this next week under old business. In the meantime, prepare what you may want to talk about particularly with this, and hopefully it'll also get brought up in committee meetings. So we'll see it next week. We don't have any old business, so we're going to move on to announcements. Do we have any announcements? I see an announcement from John.
Thank you, Speaker Novak. Great job with the T-shirt handout, y'all. That was fantastic to get rid of that early. We have quite a few left still in the office, though maybe make an appearance at a homecoming event next week. And transitioning into that, next week is homecoming. I mean, it's already here. It's 2 weeks earlier than usual, and so one thing to remind student organizations that you may be involved with is that the deadline for registering competition teams is tomorrow. Okay. Bill Tourville, my colleague who advises the homecoming planning committee, was a bit panicky on Monday when he says there's one competition team registered. So if you know of a group that's doing lip sync or competing in the homecoming parade, float competition, or anything like that, encourage them to get registered and meet tomorrow's deadline in order to do that. So there will be a kickoff on Monday. I know dodgeball is Tuesday. I don't know all the events off the top of my head. I do know that my favorite event of the year is lip sync next Thursday night. So please clear your calendar for 7 o'clock Thursday night. Lip sync will be a highlight, as it always is. Friday evening, there's a concert and bonfire. You do need a ticket. but they are free. If you do not have your ticket yet, go to mnsuevents.com to get your ticket so that you can actually get into the event. So the featured artist is B.O.B., and there's a bonfire, pep rally, all that kind of good stuff that goes along with that. So, and I'm hearing conversation about potential food trucks and stuff like that at the event as well. So, so look forward to that event. And then, of course, the homecoming parade and game on Saturday, the 24th of September. So come out and support those events if you would like to. If you're part of a group that would like to do some fundraising, there, as of yesterday morning, there were still 2 events that he is looking for groups to help with. One of them is from 6 to 10 p.m. on Friday night, helping with line control and stuff like that at the concert bonfire event. They need 8 to 10 volunteers, and if they can commit for 6 to 10 p.m., a group can get $400. From 9 a.m. until noon, he does need help with parade lineup. 10 to 12 people for that, and again, $400 to the student organization that can provide that. And if you are part of one group, you don't have enough people, and you want to part with another, they can work with splitting the funds, but they just need to make sure 8 to 10 people for the concert and 10 to 12 people for the parade lineup. They need volunteers. So if you're interested in fundraising for your group, you can do that. I believe that's all I have. As you get into your projects and stuff like that, don't be afraid to let me know if you need help finding resources. Amber can also do that as well. So I try to stop by the student government office at least once a week or twice a week, and then otherwise I'm down in student activities, and you can find me there. So I am in regular contact with your executive leadership as well, so I can help with what you need. So.
Thank you very much. Are any of the placards raised questions for John, or are all of them individual announcements? Okay, that's fine. You can put them back up. I just wanted to make sure because I saw a lot of placards go up at the same time. You have a question for John? Okay, go for it.
Hey John, my question is, who should we email regarding the fundraising?
William.Tourville, Tourville, @mnsu.edu. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. All right. Now we're going to go to Senator Nick Wynn.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to announce that we're having our 2nd annual Mental Health Awareness Week for the Sigma Chi fraternity. So last year we had a really good turnout at all our events. It's week-long events, free food, free merch. This year we're thinking about doing therapy dogs again. We're going to have a mental health demo, speaker, and then help desk with resources for mental health, booths for private mental health screening. And finally, this is something new we're trying this year. It's called Music Therapy Through the Lens of Mental Health. That's going to be our marquee event for the week. It's set for October 3rd through October 7th, so be on the lookout for that.
All right. Thank you very much. Senator Destin?
Just wanted to announce that we have our leadership workshop every Tuesday, and just encourage people who are passionate about leadership and learning about different leadership topics to take advantage of that. It's going to be every Tuesdays in CSU 201. Yeah, 201. So 5 to 6 is just 1 hour. So if you have time, you can join us. Just learn more about leadership.
All right. Thank you very much. Senator Larson?
Yeah, so with homecoming coming up, we are planning on tabling and helping people register to vote at some of those events, and also at like WOWs and residence halls and that kind of thing. So if you have any interest in that or anything else that involves GOTV, just feel free to talk to me afterwards.
And guess what? That counts for Senator office hours. Woot woot. Senator Roberts?
I'm going to repeat it once again. Speech and Debate meets Mondays, 4 p.m., Armstrong Hall 311. Come if you're interested, but also come if you are considering wanting to work on public speaking skills. All right. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you very much. Do we have any other announcements? I see a hand. Oh, David Cowan.
Speaker Novak, we have some migrations that will be going on the next couple of days. We're asking all the dark green permit holders, residence hall permit holders, out in Lot 2 and Lot 1 to vacate those lots so we could have some parking space for the Fall Festival that comes up on this Saturday. And where are we going to put them? Well, we've invited them to come into the campus core, various stalls, various parking areas, so they should be closer to their residence halls, at least for 24 hours. They're usually way out there, but this time we're inviting them in close for a reason, because I want those 2 parking lots empty for the Saturday Fall Festival. So residence hall senators, when you go back to your residence halls, you should see the flyers on your front doors, and we have white A-frames over in Lot 1 and Lot 2, and there also should be getting electronic messages if you're a dark green permit holder.
Thank you very much. Before you leave, I see that we actually have a question for you from Senator Roberts.
So when you mean by campus court, do you mean that they're going to come into gold lots, or where exactly are they coming into, and how does that affect other parking pass holders?
Well, we have to recognize that on Fridays there aren't as many gold permit holders showing up on campus, so we are predicting that there will be significant vacancies. And yes, they will be invited to park in gold permit stalls.
Is that a follow-up?
Yes. So what happens if there are gold lot pass holders who are unable to obtain parking in their respective parking spots?
We don't think that's going to happen. If they do, it's kind of catch as catch can, first come, first serve. It's an unusual event, it's an unusual circumstance, and I don't think we're going to have quite the calamity that some fear.
An additional follow-up question? Go for it.
Is there any provisions, though? I know you're saying it's not probable, but where should gold permit pass holders go if they cannot find anything?
Gold permit holders are invited to go to other gold permit stalls throughout the campus. So they become universal golds for that one day. And that one day only, that Friday. So as they are displaced by these dark green permit holders, where do they go? Well, they always wanted to go over here. Well, this is their chance.
All right. Thank you very much. Senator Victor Wynn? Oh, okay. Then in that case, thank you very much for answering our questions. All right. Senator Victor Wynn?
So again, Sigma Pi, a listener from London on campus. At our meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. Tomorrow's small 103. We have a pizza and some fries, some beer cake. Only for business. Yeah, you are welcome. Join. We all eat.
All right.
Really upset.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other announcements? Any other announcements? All right, and seeing none, we will close out announcements, and we'll move on to roll call. All right, here we go, gang. Senator Gieber-Miriam. Senator Gieber-Miriam. Motion on the table?
Motion to waive roll call.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Do I have any dissent on the motion to waive roll call? Seeing no dissent, roll call has been waived, and that means that I will adjourn this meeting at 5:39 p.m. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
I thought you were going to come over and hit it over here just to meet me. When you leaned over, I was like, you picked it.
No, I was cheating on your watch.
Oh,
you know what? Yeah, let me just come right over here.
I would cry. Yeah.
All right.
David, thank you.
You can send them.